No, it's cool. I'm like, all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, now I can. It was like you had a dead butterfly or something you're dissecting. Welcome to the Ballnine Roundhouse. Today we have a great episode for you guys, and I'm going to shut the hell up in about 3 seconds. I want to introduce everybody we have with us. Representing Ballnine, we have Kevin Kernan, America's most beloved sports writer.
Over nerding.
And then I'm going to have his twinsy, Jeff Frye, representing the She Gone movement, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's up, fellas?
Because why not? We've got Kyle Farnsworth with us. One of my favorite relievers ever because he would just go after your ass. And he's just sitting there like this, frozen for a second. Aside from that, we have Glendon Rusch. What's going on, Glendon? How are you today?
Yep. How are we?
What's happening? We're
Good.
living good, man. We're doing all right. It's been a very strange week, obviously, in Major League Baseball. Last Tuesday night was obviously Game 6 of the World Series, and we saw a guy.
You forgot Rocco.
Last but not least, obviously, our ombudsman, Rocco Constantino. What's going on, buddy?
How's it going, Chris?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that. See, we're even now. So,
right.
Whatever the case. So, in the last week in Major League Baseball, we've seen a hell of a lot of weirdness. We saw a guy dominating an elimination game. Dominating. Get yanked because, the spreadsheet told him that it's time to come out. Third time through the order, no matter what he's doing. We saw A.J. Hinch get rehired after whatever that 60-game vacation was. Then we saw Tony La Russa get hired as well. So we're going to get into the managerial stuff later. First, I want to ask you guys about Game 6.
The leadoff.
Put yourself in the position of Blake Snell. You're just mowing people down. You give up a flare single, and then all of a sudden, it's not even John Snyder, the pitching coach, coming out. It's your manager who doesn't even want to hear it. I want to start, I'll start with Glendon because, you're a starter. So by all means.
I mean, my first reaction was like everybody else's. You want to see the guy stay in and keep mowing. I mean, especially in an elimination game when you have your horse on the mound and everybody talks about passing the eye test, right? He's dealing. You're going, okay, just keep letting him go. And especially in that tight of a game, I mean, it's not like, you go to the bullpen, you're always risking what happened, right? And I think that we all looked at it the same and said, why in the world would you take this guy out without kind of using the eye test, which, you brought up Hinch earlier. Hinch was a perfect example. He did that multiple times a few years back, right? Where he had guys that were mowing and he let him go. And Dave Roberts did it with Urias too. He was mowing. He let him close out the game a couple times. So, I mean, that's what I saw.
So now, Kyle, as a reliever, you're coming into that situation. They just used you 10 games pretty almost in a row. And you're like, shit, now I got to come in and this guy's mowing people down. What am I going to do? What did you think about that situation, not just as a reliever, just as a baseball guy in general?
I think that game and the game before were actually the first two games I actually watched all season. So, just to be honest, because this is the way the baseball is these days. I just can't stand. I just think it's just a watered down product of what's going on, and it, once again, it showed its ugly head during the World Series at that time. So, just like everybody's saying, the hitters should let the manager and everybody know when to be taken out. Obviously, that was not the case. That's like when everybody's saying that's your horse, that's your Cy Young Award winner in the elimination game, who's shoving it up their rear end. We're probably down in the bullpen, like, okay, we got a day off, or at least we just got to cover 2 or 3 innings at the most. But again, then something like this happens. I couldn't believe it. I mean, my first response is like, what is this guy doing? I mean, like everybody was saying, it's scripted just from the guys from the computer. Oh, it's the third time around. No matter what happens, no matter what he's doing, he could have been throwing a shutout, which he was. And then he gets pulled out because the third time around was coming, which totally makes no sense and which is disgusting to me for how hard the players work to get to that situation, to be in that limelight and be able to perform at that level and to get yanked out like that. It's almost like a slap in your face almost.
I mean, I agree with you completely. And I mean, and as Kernan, as you wrote in your column, there was no discussion to be had. They didn't send Snyder out. Cash came out and just signaled for Anderson immediately. What the hell is this doing to baseball, saying that everything is so scripted? And what happened to the gut, aside from the one I grew in quarantine? Go ahead.
Well, two things I want to address. First of all, Kevin Cash had a lot of, spoke to him through the years, but I'm really pissed off. I'm not even calling him Kevin Cash anymore. He's Kevin Debit Card. Kevin Debit Card to me now, because, these guys, and they can speak to it, and Farnsworth he made a great point there. The big part of the column that I wrote was a manager has to believe in you. It helps you believe in you. When the manager doesn't believe in you and you're at your best and you've grown up, that was the most impressive thing to me. Blake Snell grew up in that World Series. We see it a lot with players. Starting pitchers grow up. I'm old enough to remember Bob Gibson, all those guys. He was not getting beat that day. Something might have happened and he might have lost, but he was not getting beat. And when they take away, because some nerd upstairs in the 4:00 meeting is saying, no matter what happens here, he's got 6 Ks, though. He's got 6 Ks. And it showed, the one thing I noticed that really showed me that Cash was just doing the bidding. Debit Card was just doing the bidding. He raced out with the arm up. Any manager would at least give their player, a guy that's putting it all on the line for him, a chance to say, what do you think? Or at least talk it out a little bit. And I'm going to say something about players that might piss these guys off, but I've written about it. A lot of guys in the media don't have the guts to write about it, but I think it's going to take players. Players have to start speaking up. Still can't do a rebellion right there on the mound, but maybe a little bit of one. And until players start speaking up, this isn't going to change.
I think everybody would agree with that, because that's all it's going to take, because the players aren't the ones with the spreadsheets in the front office. And that's going to bring me to Jeff, because what do the players have to do to take the game back? Like, what did you see that went horribly wrong? It's probably the same thing we saw, but what do the players have to do to get the game back?
That's funny you asked that, because I actually been in contact with the Player Association about that and told them that they need to hire somebody to be the go-between between the front offices and the player. To where if the front offices are putting pressure on people to use the analytics and things, change their swings, try to hit the balls, different launch angles, and the players don't feel comfortable doing that, who do they go to? And it's almost like if these guys are damned if they do, damned if they don't. So if a player doesn't feel comfortable with what the new driveline hitting coach is teaching, he has to fucking do it, or he's not going to play. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like the players are in a bad spot, and I do agree that they're going to have to step up and say, I'm not doing this shit. I played my whole life to get to the big leagues, and everything I did to get to this level is how I got here. And now you want me to change it all because guys upstairs who've never played have all these data and analytics that say this is the way to do it. They don't know. They've never been there. So I think the players do have to step up.
I agree. And I mean, Rocco, I think you had a point earlier, but before we started, when I was speaking with you, about you just have to ride your horse. Sometimes you have to ride your horse. So
yeah, I agree. And one of the best examples of it is one of the best World Series games ever pitched in our generation, that Jack Morris 10-inning game. The top of the 8th inning, it was 0-0, and he's facing the top of the Braves lineup. He gives up a single, and then Pendleton hits a double off the wall. 2nd and 3rd, no outs, 0-0 game. 3, 4, 5 batters coming up. Morris stays in, gets out of it. Game gets him into the Hall of Fame. If you got a horse out there, Snell's a Cy Young winner. Let the guy work through it, or at least he's earned a conversation, from the manager.
Yeah, how would you guys? Kyle and Glendon, we have 2 pitchers here. What would you think afterwards? Would you think wow, this guy really doesn't have any fucking confidence in me? If you were throwing that well and you see them come out and not even give you a chance to plead your case, what would you think about that? Glendon, I'll go with you.
I've always said that the best managers, and I had a bunch of good ones, they make you feel like, Bobby Valentine and Dusty Baker and some of the managers I had made me feel like I was Randy Johnson. And they knew I wasn't, but they believed in me and felt like I was going to perform well. And I just brought up this point the other day to Todd Pratt on Twitter. Yeah. We were talking, and I said 20 years ago, Tank, in Game 5 of the World Series, Al Leiter was out there pitching in a tie game in the 9th inning, and Kevin remembers that well. And I mean, that's the evolution of what we've seen over the last 20 years. And the manager having confidence in you is such a huge part of it. And absolutely, if they believe those decisions are already made and the manager really isn't sticking up for you or doesn't have any say in it, then yeah, that's going to make a big difference.
Like, what is your thought process when you see a guy come out and just give you the quick hook? That's really my question.
Well, Glendon was saying, it's sad that it's almost like it's basically coming from the front office, just like it's coming from the nerds, and he almost like he has his hands tied, but still he has to believe in the person who's out there on the mound. He has to, especially in that situation, he just has to go, you know what? That's my guy out there. I see what he's doing. I know what the front office wants me to do. You know what? Screw this. I'll go out there and talk to him. I'll appease my front office people, but I'm not going to take him out. So, I mean, you have to know the manager has your back, that he will let you go as long as you can forever until it's time to come out. As a reliever, you always want your name called in that situation. I'm sure a lot of those guys weren't expecting that to be called upon that early, especially one. I forget who came in after him, but I think it was his 4th or 5th day in a row of pitching, something crazy
Anderson.
Like that. Yeah. And he was struggling a little bit during the whole playoffs, I believe. But still, you have to watch. That's what sucks, the eye test. You see what's going on. There's no reason to go out there that quick. Like I said, he deserved a conversation. And cash should have, or debit card should have gone out there, have the conversation with Snell and be like, okay, this is what the front office wants. You deserve more. You're our horse. I'm going to go back. Now I'll take the heat for that if we lose. You deserve to be out here.
See, I agree with that. Do you think it's a great point. And do you think it's kind of, Jeff, I'll ask you, and Kevin, actually, I know you guys probably would want to talk about this as well, so I'll let you guys go with this. I mean, do you think it's just more covering their own ass by, like Kevin, you wrote analytics doesn't win you games, it covers your ass. So do you think that's a part of it where it's like, okay, so it's the front office. Who gets fired? The reliever might lose his job.
Well, off of what Glendon said too, the imagine if you are Randy Johnson that day. If you're at your very best, and Snell was at his best that day. So that's going to destroy his confidence within the team. I'm talking about the pitcher. It's going to be the same thing with the players. They're going to think the same thing. It'd be like pinch hitting for Rosarina at that point, the way things are going. It just makes no common sense. And if Debit Card had the balls to go out there and say, those jackasses upstairs, they want you out. I was told to get you out, cover my mouth, and say all that. They want you out. Let's go prove them wrong. Snell he'll be ready to go through a wall. And you know what? If you lose that way, you lose. The other team beats you. That's a good team. The most telling thing to me, and I'll leave it at this, the most telling thing to me, because I've seen it on the high school level, I've seen it on the college level, and unfortunately now you're seeing it in the major leagues. The most telling thing to me was Mookie Betts laughing his ass off as he's talking to the first base coach, because I guarantee you, I've been around these guys my whole life. I played through college. I know the game. He's saying, I can't believe they took Snell out. Do you believe that? What a bunch of jerks. How dumb could they be? And that at that moment, I basically shut off the game. And like Kyle, I've had enough. I knew they were going to lose, and I went to something else. It's like I'm starting to watch rugby now because I'm learning about rugby, and the guys are playing their ass off, no nerves. And that's where I'm going. I'm heading to rugby now, and it's that simple. Until they change it, and I know we'll address it later, But I can't tell you, from my column that I wrote, I had maybe a soft number is about 150, maybe 200 baseball people get to me. Players, development people, managers, coaches, front office people. And, even A-Rod sent me a note. I throw his name out there because we know where A-Rod stands on this. So the players have had enough. Everybody's had enough. The fans have had enough. We don't want to watch this crap. We don't want to go to science class every day. We want to watch baseball. We want to see these guys win or lose it on the field. And if they can't see this, they're treating us like morons. They deserve to get what they get, the lowest rated World Series ever.
Indeed. And this is going to bring me to Jeff Frye because I just always love going to Jeff Frye. So I'm just going to go ahead.
Well, I mean, when they took him out of the game, it breathed life into the Dodgers. They're like, shit, we have a chance now.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're facing the guy, I remember facing some shut down starters, man, and it's just like, man, this dude's just shoving it up our butt. There's nothing we can do about it. And you see somebody getting up in the bullpen, and you're like, man, hopefully they'll bring that dude in and we might have a chance, But when Cash came out and said that it wasn't scripted, okay,
it's horseshit.
How could you immediately take one step out of the dugout and signal to the bullpen if it wasn't scripted? Now, what I wonder is what goes on in the minds of these managers, okay? If Cash knew before the game that in no way that Snell was going to get to the third time through the lineup, is he in the dugout going, damn, hope he doesn't do too good because it's really going to look like shit if I have to take him out. He's got to know him. Yeah, maybe give up a couple hits. That way, it looks like he's probably running out of gas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, are they actually having to think about this stuff? Because, I mean, it's obviously they're just protecting their ass because if they lose the game and they go against the analytics departments and everybody in the front office is going to go, why didn't you go with the numbers? The numbers told you what you should do. So it's like they're afraid to go with their gut feeling or their instincts now because they can just say, well, this is what we planned on. This is our strategy, and it didn't work.
I just want to interject one thing because it'll go out of my head and I'll forget it. I talked to Jack McKean about this. He pitched Beckett in Game 6 against the Yankees in 2003. I'm sure. And he was up. He wanted to close him out that game. He didn't want to get to a Game 7. Everybody in his front office said, don't do it. Don't do it. And he said, the hell with you, I'm doing it. Of course, he pitches great. They win the World Series. Everybody in the front office says, hey, we were with you, buddy. We were with you. So that's the way baseball works. And that's a great point about you almost betting against your own guy so you don't look so bad when you pull him out. And that's what, as crazy as it sounds, that's where we are today.
Chris, can I add something?
You go right ahead, man.
The one thing also that stuck out to me, and I know Farnsworth will be all over this, the thing that nobody really talked about that much is those relievers got absolutely abused.
Oh,
When it's just a free-for-all and there's no structure and there's no roles, I get it's the playoffs, but still, and it was a shorter season, but those guys got crushed. And that to me sticks out because you wonder why their performance continually went like this, right? As the series went on.
You saw it. You saw it happen. Yeah.
That's why.
That's another thing. People were saying it was like, well, it was a short season. They should have been healthy. They should have been ready to go. There were no days off until you got to the World Series. There were no days off in the wild card, in the division series, in the championship series. And these were long series for the most part. So these guys got worked with 1 day off, and they're pitching every day. How the hell are you supposed to have a bullpen game?
That's what happened to the Padres. That's what happened to the Padres, right? They won one game, bullpen game to get them in, and then they were shot.
Yeah. After what the Rays did, which, they, go in the distance against the Astros and the Yankees, and these guys are pitching every day. I mean, these guys, what do you have left in the tank if you're not allowed to pitch anymore and you're just out there throwing max effort trying to get to 102 and trying to get to 103? Like, when that flattens out, man, you're screwed and you're only throwing 99. So what would you guys – what would you guys think if a manager tried to do that to you guys? I mean, that I'm curious about. Just get out there. It doesn't matter. You can't – my arm is literally hanging out of the socket. I don't give a shit. Get out there and pitch. Kyle.
No. I mean, if I'm in that situation, I want the ball no matter what. Especially in the World Series. I'm sure those guys' arms are sore. I know everybody's saying there's only a short season, but especially as a reliever, the ups and downs is what really kills you. Not getting in the game, and this stuff like that. And you go through dead arm periods a couple of times during the year. So, that's why that All-Star break is huge for a lot of guys, especially relievers, at least have a couple of days off just to chill and relax. And but you always want to go out there and pitch. I remember there was times when my arm felt like it was falling off, but I was like, you know what, I want to be ready. I want, this is what you play for. But again, there's also has to be roles for everybody down there as well. You just can't throw a guy in here one day, then another dude in here this way.
Yeah.
There was always 6-inning guys, 7-inning guys, 8-inning guys, and your closer. That's what it was. First off, your starter win at least 6 or 7 innings just about all the time. That's almost out the door now. I think it was it. I think I heard someone say that this was the most innings pitched by or more innings were pitched by relievers than starters or something crazy like that. I was like, that doesn't even make sense to me because that's what you pay these big dollar starters for, to go deep in the game to save your bullpen.
Yeah. So, I mean, imagine getting like a $300 million contract to only know all you have to do is throw 4 innings.
Yeah, 5 and dive. Thank you. See you later. 5 and dive.
Yeah. Jeff.
What about the long-term effects too on these guys? I think is it Anderson, the guy?
Nick Anderson, that poor guy, yeah.
A run in 7 consecutive appearances or something.
Yeah. After giving him, I think it was something like one inherited run all season.
The whole season. And then
Yeah.
So he obviously was taking its toll on him. And
they hung him out to dry.
We've seen over the years the relievers that are abused in the playoffs never are the same. Look at it Francisco Rodriguez? He was pitching in every game, right, for the Angels. Yep. And then we saw Kenley Jansen's not the same guy. They've been wearing him out every playoff for the last 4 years. Now he's throwing 90-mile-an-hour cutters.
He's getting smacked around. Yeah.
So, Andrew Miller and Chapman both.
Miller, yeah. Chapman's the same way. Absolutely.
They don't care about the long-term effects on the players. They ride them. And if they can't come back, we'll move on to the next guy. And that's kind of shitty.
Well, I mean, that's the new baseballs that players are just going to come in as robots and they're expendable. And that's what I think people are not seeing, when they're just looking at the numbers. Like, give the guy a breath,
Hey, when I talked to when the Bochy and the Giants were having their run, and again, I was at that Jack Morris game, so I know what they're talking about. I was at the Al Leiter game. But when Bochy was having his run, I asked one of the relievers, how do you guys – because he used his bullpen very well. They went 3 or 5 in World Series. And I'll never forget the reliever told me. He said – I think it was Vasquez, one of those guys. But he said about the end of July, first week of August, Boch starts using us exactly how we're going to be used in the postseason. So we know from that point forward what our roles are, what is expected, and how we're going to get there. That's the plan, and that's the way you should use your bullpen. Right now, with these guys making these decisions upstairs that don't know the game, they're making the wrong decisions. And I'm glad to see people are finally speaking up, like Costas. Dan Shaughnessy mentioned something to me about it. So that's how you do it. You can use your bullpen. You can use them a lot, but they got to have roles, and they got to know their roles. And that's why Bochy won 3 World Series in 5 years.
Can we get a Luis Tiant? Let's get a Luis Tiant.
I'm getting old, but I'm good.
Hey, Louis, I got a question for you. You're pitching in the World Series elimination game. You're pitching in the World Series. You're dealing. You got a shutout. You struck out 9 guys. You struck out the whole top of the order. Every time you saw them, and you're shoving, and all of a sudden the manager comes out and raises his right hand. How do you react?
I want to kill it. I tell you, I fight with him. That's bad. I tell them, I don't get it. I don't understand why they're doing those things. I don't. I just don't get it. And not only that, he's the best pitcher they got. Whoever you're gonna bring him for him, you know better him. Why you take him out? You know. And plus, he's been pitching great. Well, what more you want? Jesus Christ. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Bro, you know, it don't surprise me because that's what he's doing more years. All those years he's been managing Tampa, he's been doing that.
Yep.
Even the manager for the Dodgers too. He's doing the same thing. The other day, when he's losing a game against them, they're taking the pitcher out, they're bringing the reliever, and then they're killing the reliever. Right? They're losing the game. I don't know. I just don't understand it. What kind of baseball they play? I don't know. A lot of these guys, they think they're too smart. And this game, you have to play the game. The simple the game is. You have the ability, you have the mentality, and you got a way to take it to go over there and fight, compete. That's all you need. You don't need a computer. And you need all this stuff, and that's the problem. Everything now is computer. Computer can tell you how to pitch. And I tell you the other problem is about I don't like a computer. Because the computer, when you come and I see in the clubhouse, the pitcher gonna pitch in tonight and say, they sit down with the catcher and the pitching coach. They look in the computer. No, yeah, okay. The computer gonna say, okay, this guy is a low ball hitter, okay, or the guy is a high pitch inside middle of the play. The problem with that to me is, if you don't have the control, what good are gonna do to you? They're not gonna do any good to you, and that's it. I think that's the biggest problem they have today. They don't have the control consistently, where they can throw the ball closer. No, you don't have to be perfect. Closer what you want. You know, that's why they have problem. And everything today, oh, he throw 100 miles, he throw 105. Who cares how many out he can get? That's the key about pitching, how many out you can get. And you looking Maddox, you looking the other guy with Maddox over there, the left-hander. Glavin. What did he throw? 88, 89? Yeah. And then the Hall of Fame. You know.
Jamie Moyer.
Moyer.
Jamie
you know, I mean,
Moyer.
And you looking today, the guy, they are good pitchers. They know how pitching. The guy is Scheisse. You know, the guy from Scheisse, the guy from Washington.
Scherzer.
This guy, yeah, Scheisse, the guy from the Dodgers, the two guys, the right hand and the left hand. Pitching, they win 2 games, you know. They know how to pitch. They're moving the ball around the home plate, up and down, in and out, breaking ball, change speed. That's what the pitches is. You know, after you throw hard, you can throw hard you want. I don't care. And then the problem with that, I think it is, they go ball 1, ball 2. Every time you look in the game, pitch it behind. 2 ball, no strike. 3 ball, no strike. 3-2. And then they go and try to throw the ball in the middle of the play. Are you crazy? They're going to kill you. I don't care how high you throw. I don't care. I don't care how high you throw. You can throw 2,000 miles per hour, and they're going to hit the ball 2,000 feet way over there for the home plate. I don't get it. But these guys, I don't know where they learned to be managers. I don't know. And that's why they're killing the game. You see, you're watching the game sometimes. I got watching 2-3 and I had to get out. Because I got watch a pitch. You guys should watch a pitch. I can't see that. I mean, no way you can get hit all the time. And you can get the same guy come back and then the guy hit the same pitch. Why? Yeah. And you don't have to take it. You know, you see now they're taking the hat and they're looking the inside the hat.
Oh, the nerd
how
card.
You're gonna pitch on this guy. Yeah, are you kidding me? That's a joke. That's
How come you didn't have?
joke.
How come you never had a card in the hat, Mr. Tiant? What the hell? You didn't need a card in your hat to tell you how to pitch to somebody?
You don't
Come
need
on.
a card.
I got you on my shirt, and there's no card on your head.
Listen here. Hey, you see what you got in the front of your teacher? You see the forehead? You see that forehead?
I do.
What you got him inside there. That's what it is.
It's right in here. You're telling me that, yeah.
Inside your head.
That's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things you ever told me, where it's like, what are you supposed to look at a computer to tell you how to pitch to somebody? It's like if the guy is having problems, but then again, you're also Luis Tiant, and you would throw from here and here and like here, and everybody's looking at your back and you're throwing. It's the whole thing.
Well, but that's the thing. You have to make adjustments. You have to make an adjustment when you're pitching. If the way you pitching don't work, you better change, and you better change quick, because you're gonna be home sooner than you think. And the hitter no stupid. They're gonna hit you. They're gonna sit in the pitches. That's what they're doing to this guy. And I tell you, it can be 10 years from now. Like when we used to pitch. And this guy, I'm gonna face it. They hit me a first ball inside, middle of the plate. I remember every time I see him. 10 years, I remember. And I can tell you that he's not gonna hit me the same pitch. They might hit me something else. But that pitcher, I'm not gonna throw to him. No way. And that's what they do. Yeah, but I think it is. The problem with that, they don't let these young guys learning how to pitch. Because everything now, you look in the catch, you look in the dugout, manager giving the sign, every pitch. Why? You don't know how I feel. You don't know, it's that good today, I feel good, I have a better breaking ball on the first ball, or better first ball and breaking ball, or better change. You don't know. You don't read mine. You're not going to tell me any of these dummies, he mine, because it's not. Okay, I don't want to hear that. No, really. And
I just like that you call them dummies.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to call anything, because the way I see things, we practice the things we don't need it to be a good pitch. Like now, they cover the face with the glove when you're going to talk. So you're going to tell me somebody's going to be in the stand and looking at you, telling the catcher, you're going to throw first ball, and then you're going to call in the dugout. By the time they hit it, no, he sit down. I put him in the bench. Serious. Now that's what we practice. The things we don't need it. Yeah. You have to practice things you're going to use, and you're going to help you to be a better pitcher. That's what I'm trying to tell them, the young guy. And I don't point the finger to you young pitchers, because you know what? I watch all these managers, what they do. The kid, they give you 1-2 hit, or maybe 2 walk, and they take him out of the game. Why? Let the guy learn how to compete. That's how you learn it.
I know.
Yeah,
because
that's
the
how you
computer
learn
tells
it.
you so.
You're gonna tell me every time you're gonna put me in the mound, and I give it 2 hits, and you're gonna take me out of the game. What I can do to you is to those young guys. They go to the mound thinking that way. If I put in too many on base, they're gonna take me out, and that's exactly what they do, because they know they're not gonna leave him in the game to fight the next guy. And that's how you learn it to fight, and that's how they learn it, the way you learn how to compete, and give you a confidence. Yeah. And that's the way you can show confidence to the manager. Hey, in any situation, you can leave me in the mound, because I know I'm gonna fight. But if they take you out, how you gonna learn it? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why they do the thing they do? I don't know.
I'm with you, Mr. Tiant.
I just can't understand that.
I know. The 75 World Series, you threw like 1,000 pitches.
Yeah, 173. Okay.
Okay, well, close.
I'm telling you, I was in the 7th inning. I got man in second base, 2 out. And I got him
7th
out.
inning.
Got 3 out. Yeah, in 7th inning, okay? You get 4. And then in the 8th inning, I got the same problem. Man in second base, 2 out. I got out. The 9th inning, I got a man in second base, 2 out. And, Darren Johnson, he passed away. He gone to the mound. Every time the manager going to the mound, especially in the World Series or game, the infield coming to the mound, see what we're going to talk. Fish coming first.
Well, I'm sure Carl and Fisk fucked with you because he liked to do that.
He coming to the mound, telling me, what is he doing here? I said, you told me. I don't know. I said, I hope he's not going to get you out of the game because there's no way he's going to take you out of the game. I know that. I said, you're right. No way he's going to do anything. I don't know. And then the Jazz, Danny Doyle, Burlington, and Rico coming to the mound. And they're talking. Then he coming, and I'm waiting. And I told him, he said to me, how you feel? I said, what kind of questions are that? What kind of question is that? You're gonna ask me how I feel. In the bottom of the ninth with 2 out, man in second base, and you're gonna come in here and ask me how I feel. What's the matter with you? It no matter how I feel. You know what? No way you're gonna take me out of there. Not even thinking about it. Just go back to sit down over there in the dugout and let me finish my game. And I go and throw one pitcher to Joe Morgan. He passed away to Papa to first base. I win the game. Then, but I tell you what, when he come into the mound, I cuss him so much. and TV, the only thing you hear, it was said that Joe Garagiola was the one to do the game.
Joe Garagiola was talking.
Yeah, Joe Garagiola was to do the game, okay? And everything you hear in the TV was beep, 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 because I cuss him. Everywhere I open my mouth, I said to him, I cuss him out. I tell him, get out here, go there, man. Oh, man. And those guys laughing like hell. Oh,
God.
Yeah, but I turn around, go and get out of there. He was good to me. He let me pitch for every game. I never have any problem with him. He wasn't good manager for me. He was good to me. But I proved him I can go over there and be the man, do my own thing, and I can win.
Do your job.
And that's what the problem is. Yeah, and that's the problem. Today, these guys, these young guys, can't do that. When they're taking you out and going to get to hit or to work, they're taking you out. How are you going to prove the manager you can pitch or you can be over there and you can compete? You can't do that. You have to give it that confidence. But they're different. They play different games. I told you. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what they do. And I can say I outside now. I already do what I did. Thank God they give me that ability, and give me the luck to do what I do. But, the thing is, I don't want to put a finger to nobody. I don't like it what I see. I don't like it because I don't play that game. To me, it's not baseball I play.